Hello everybody and welcome to NBL Overtime. 8 games, 6 days, 3 league leaders, 55,000 fans. It is going nuts. What a weekend. And as it stands here on a Tuesday night, we have no idea who's going to win the championship and we have no idea who's actually going to make the top 4. The teams that we thought were the best in the league, or at least finding form in Brisbane and Adelaide, both went winless. Sydney, iffy, and Perth Wildcats bounce back and let this man, Corey Homicide Williams, know all about it. So Bryce Cotton, who I believe should just get an automatic MVP consideration for just spraying you on the sideline. And you know what? He is taking it in the best way possible. So welcome you in. You've refused to let Bryce Cotton back up on the backdrop, man. How you doing?
Look, I'm doing fantastic. You know, always a pleasure being next to you two guys. I'm here. Let's do it.
Good. We're glad you're here, Liam Santamaria. Welcome to you.
Thank you. Yeah, what an amazing weekend. You didn't mention the New Zealand Breakers, who kept their season alive with 2 wins. Incredible.
Yes, we're going to get into that a little bit later on. We're going to talk about the Kings as well, who were disappointing over the weekend, although they were brilliant on Friday night. And we're going to talk to Bullets, who went 0-2. But as I said, 8 games, 6 days, over 50,000 fans. It has been an outstanding weekend of NBL, and it is just whetting our appetite for what the next month is going to be before the playoffs. And it started without the roof last week. The City jerseys looked outstanding, and Melbourne's second half in particular, as Mitch McCarron throws it down, was great.
Well, it's always good when the roof is off, isn't it? Just creates a great scene, and yeah, it was an emphatic win by United.
I'll tell you what, this New Zealand...
Let's go! Let's go! Best big man in the NBL.
Oh, going there again?
Best big man in the NBL.
With no disclaimer.
Nobody want that smoke. Nobody.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's got Josh Watch this week.
Yeah.
He got Josh
And one. Let's go.
He threw down a zillion dunks. Why are we watching a layup?
Speaking about the best man in the NBL, best big man, look at that.
Bang! Game winner. That's it.
Andrew Bogan says, shut the door. That was out.
Speaking of shutting the door.
Here it is. Here it is.
Shutting Corey right up.
Yeah.
You don't want any of that smoke.
I don't want none of that smoke.
I'll tell you what, the nation's capital was a little bit warm, but it came down to this. And Jordan Jet was able to, well, preserve the win, and Illawarra kept their very slim mathematical chances alive.
It wasn't convincing,
to play in the NBA playoffs. Hey, win's a win, but
yep,
it wasn't. You're right. How about this team, though? New Zealand, you talk about them. We said last week their body language is no good, and Finn Delaney was outstanding, and they were really good backing it up on Sunday against the Bullets.
Yeah, they were. 2 wins, both at home, but yeah, beating Brisbane, who we know has been playing well, really good. And didn't Clint Steindl play well across the weekend, splashing threes left, right and centre. And he was the top-scoring Wildcat for that 2-0 weekend, all in all. And we called for it, and he played well.
No, we didn't call for it. You called for it.
Yeah.
Now, look at this one. This was last night.
Let's go to work. The giant killer, best point guard in the league.
Oh, here we go.
Best point guard in the league.
Wow.
If they finish first, that's MVP of the league. Casper Ware is a problem.
Almost off.
Put the backpack on as usual and got it done.
He did.
Oh, my goodness.
Huge.
He dissected this team. I'm watching the game last night, as I'm sure you both were.
You were commentating.
Yeah, I was commentating, but I was just so impressed. Okay, the first half, you know, had a couple of, got the tech. That was a charge. I know Hammond's talking about it wasn't. He pushed off.
I agree.
And it was offensive foul. Went to the referee. Good call. Shouldn't have done that. That's taunting the referee. And hold that tech. Sit down. Watch the game. It was a double-digit lead. Sobey turned it up, as well as everybody else, actually, in the second unit. Tied the game up. Casper Ware, I'm sure, is like, this is my fault, basically. This team was allowed to come back into this game we had control of. Sobey Jets is still on. Third quarter, comes out, brings it. Gets a nice and one on Casper. I said, oh, Sobey 22 points in the third quarter. He's busting Casper Ware's ass. That's what I said.
Yeah.
And I think Casper might have heard me or something. Or maybe he heard the crowd booing him.
Well, we spoke recently about how he just loves those moments and those situations. If you take it to him physically within the game, he ramps it up. If you talk to him, if the crowd gets on him, he senses those moments and he goes to another level. And I like the fact that what he's been doing for Melbourne is whatever they need. 9 assists last night, got everyone involved. and as well as lighting up the scoreboard throughout the season.
That's a great point. His second halves, I don't have his second half stats in front of me, but his second halves this year, you're right, he plays within the system. It's a fairly crowded Melbourne United system, as we've spoken about. His first halves, he feels the game, where it's going. He's been in some foul trouble. Last night was one of those nights as well. But his second halves in 2018-19 have been outstanding, and they're a huge reason when he is on, they're almost unstoppable. And at 3 minutes to start the fourth quarter, if they can find that with Chris Goulding, which we'll talk a little more about later in the show, they are nigh on unstoppable.
Corey, you said if they finish on top, Casper Ware's the MVP.
100%.
What if they finish on top and it's tied with Sydney? They get it by percentage.
Casper Ware's the MVP.
Right. Well,
I tell you,
the
the
MVP
MVP vote
That's
is
hard.
going to be
That's hard.
so
It is.
tight.
That's hard because,
It is.
at the end of the day, you cannot overlook what Bogut has done from start to finish for the Sydney Kings.
It's getting close.
It's getting real close.
It is. Hey, this time last week we said here, and we've spoken a lot about Brisbane. Lamar Patterson's in that MVP consideration.
Bryce Cotton.
And a week ago,
Bryce Cotton.
here they were coming. They were talking Brisbane, and then Melbourne, we were unsure. They had some defensive lapses. Are they good enough? What did you learn most from the weekend? Because Melbourne went 2-0 and set a bit of a warning. Was it Perth going 2-0? Was it Sydney again? Their inability to have energy at home? Was it the fact that Adelaide couldn't stand up when a little bit of pressure was on them? Brisbane. What did you learn the most?
Jeez,
It's a tough one.
It was crazy. There was so much going on, and like you say, the teams we thought that were rolling, Adelaide and Brisbane. You sat here and said, "Today I'm Brisbane, right?"
We thought Brisbane could be on top if things went certain ways, and they could have been.
But no, I think the thing we learnt the most is that Perth are Perth. Mm-hmm. That this Perth team is making it 33 straight. They're going to be right there in the thick of things. And you know what? They might have home court advantage, not only in that first round, but throughout the playoffs. And we know Perth is a whole different beast. So there's a lot to learn, but I think that was the biggest thing. And that Bryce watches overtime.
Ooh, he does. Not the only one. Kevin Braswell as well might have watched overtime last Tuesday. What did you learn?
That's why I have on this Kevin Garnett jersey today.
Oh.
Because anything is possible. Anything is possible in this league. Yep. Whatever you feel is going to be, is not going to be. This is by far the most competitive and tight ladder I've ever seen in any league, ever. Man, I don't know, man. I really don't know.
So you learned that anything is possible.
Anything is possible.
Learned that anything is possible. I learned, and I still think the Sydney Kings will make the grand final. But I've learned, for whatever reason...
They're not making the grand final.
Well...
I'll get to them in a minute. I'm off the Kings, man.
I have learned, and it's a worry, their inability to conjure up energy at home. They were great. The game on Friday night was great. They were able to get over the Brisbane Bullets, who had the confidence and the momentum on the road in front of a packed stadium, which Sydney get quite a bit. But again, for the third straight game, not the fact that they lost, because it is a close league and anything is possible, but the very fact is that their energy to start the games, and even when they're in games in the second halves, and they double-digit though on Sunday against Perth, but they just haven't got the energy or can't garner anything to make an entire comeback, and I find that incredibly surprising. And that back-to-back...
The back-to-back,
with the
I think, was the killer,
Could be interesting. That could be the issue come playoff time.
Well,
I haven't seen the schedule yet.
They played Brisbane on the Friday night. Let's not forget, they beat Brisbane.
They did.
They just beat the team that was at home in Brisbane. And they shut them down defensively. That's what the Kings do, right? They shut you down defensively. And Brisbane just didn't look themselves. They are the best team in the league, Sydney, and they have been all year at defending the three-point line. And we know that's what Brisbane is best at. So Andre Lamanis said after the game, that's 2 in a row now against Sydney, where we just haven't felt or been like ourselves. So Sydney did what they do there. But then backing up less than 48 hours later against the desperate Wildcats, they didn't have that energy.
And you know what? You said it correctly. They're the best team in the league at defending the three-point line. Perth aren't a great three-point shooting team, and they shot the lights out from beyond the arc, which made no sense on the actual day. Not over the course of the season, but on the actual day, and there are some concerns. You speak about anything possible.
There's a couple of things that bother me.
About the Kings?
Yeah.
Do you want to hold it first? So I just want to show this stat. Okay. If you just throw us what happened, because this time we sat here last week, we didn't know where the ladder was going to look. This is how it went from the last time we left. Last Tuesday, Sydney are on top, then Melbourne, then Sydney, then Perth, and then Melbourne again. We have had all three teams have a little dip at the top of the table since we were last here.
It's absolutely insane. And like Corey's saying, anything is possible. But I will say this. The only names on there are Perth, Melbourne and Sydney.
Yeah.
And let's not forget, pre-season, they were the teams we expected to be the top three. So as crazy as the season has been, we do have the teams that we thought in pre-season, we do have them right at the top of the table.
All right, hold your fire on Sydney. I want to talk about the Adelaide 36ers, because
Oh, my goodness.
like Brisbane, a week ago, they were finding form. We felt that Conga was starting to fit in. Wiley had a little couple of weeks, had come off the bench a couple of times, had found some form. Nathan Sobey's having an outstanding season. Daniel Johnson, stats-wise, having a really good year. Dreamick was finding his stroke, and we thought, Joey Wright might have unlocked this team to have that run. And you don't want to play one of these teams in a playoff. They've got the X factor, they run their gun, they can be hard to stop. And they got blown out twice. Now, last night they weren't that bad. It was a 3 or 4 minute stretch that blew the game out for Melbourne. But really, in the second half, they were never in the game against the Wildcats. And how do we read Adelaide? Do we read them as a team that's dangerous but unlikely to mount a serious playoff run? Or do we just put it as a bad weekend that come at a bad time and see what happens this weekend? You were there last night. You were there both nights.
First game in Perth. 1 of 6, played 18 minutes, 0 rebounds, 0 assists. That's Demetrius Conga's stat line. That is disgraceful. I'm paying you too much money. This game is too important for you to show up with those type of numbers. No rebounds, no assists. Are you kidding me? What am I paying you for? Why are you here? Why are you here? Now you come back home against Melbourne United and you lay another egg. You lay another egg. DJ Kennedy not only locked you up, he outplayed you. On offense, DJ Kennedy, 16 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals, a block. Best game of the season. He's coming into form at the end. This is why you get paid money as an import to play.
Yeah.
Has he just not fit the system? Because it's a much different one than we saw last year.
I'm not buying
it's
that.
It's a much different Demetrius Conga to what we saw last year.
He's not hungry. That's what, listen.
Yeah.
He is not the same player.
He's not.
He's not hungry. He's not aggressive on both ends of the court. He's acting like, I killed it last year, so I'm good. No, you're not. It's more pressure this year based off what you did last year.
Yeah, I think there's an element of not working out how to go about it within Joey's system, because Joey wants you to be aggressive, play with swagger, take it on, but he also wants you to be unselfish, right? And so he talked about at the end of that Perth game that selfishness was their issue. Now, let's roll the vision on those possessions. These are the possessions that led into that timeout when he broke his whiteboard. Here's Conga going one-on-one, everybody else standing and watching.
Note the score. They're in front.
The next possession, this one really riled Joey up. Look at the shot clock. It's 6 seconds into the possession, and he's shooting a fadeaway, contested fadeaway from mid-range. Then there were a couple more. One here from Daniel Johnson, just doing his own thing. The ball's not moving. Joey's getting more and more frustrated. And then the next one, this is Sobey. Johnson wants it. Sobey's like, no, set a pick for me. Johnson's like, well, I will, sort of. And Sobey does his own thing. Straight after that, Joey calls the timeout, smashes the whiteboard. Then he comes into the presser and says, we got in our own way. We were selfish. He called his team selfish. Then after the Melbourne game, when he was asked about Conga, he said something which was even more interesting to me. He said, look at Jack McVeigh and the way he's not getting it done on the offensive end necessarily, but he's just getting involved in different ways, getting on the glass, getting stops. And he said, that's what I'd like to see from Demetrius. What that is, he said, is that's just playing with a want, a need, and playing with no agendas. So clearly, he doesn't think there's full buy-in from Demetrius.
But nobody thought Demetrius Conga was a great defensive player coming in to Adelaide, correct? He didn't play a great deal of defence last year. Not sure if he doesn't want to.
He's not a stopper.
He's not a stopper. No. So when we talk about McVeigh, who was outstanding last night, and you're right, if he's not nailing shots, which he can shoot but hasn't been shooting particularly well, in particular last night, the other end, he's bringing the energy. So this is the thing. People can say, well, you've got to bring the energy at both ends, but everyone was happy to allow him to be a game changer for Adelaide coming in, knowing that that's not what he does. So I have no surprise. I'm surprised that he hasn't shot the ball better.
He's had some ball games.
He has had.
He's had some really good performances.
But last night, it sticks out.
Yeah.
If you don't play, if he doesn't hit the shots that we know he can hit, or he showed he hit last year, you just can't expect him to turn into a stopper with high energy defensive mindset, because that's not who he is.
Look, I say it all the time. This is not a cupcake league. You can't have nights off. Okay, you're playing against Melbourne United in a must-win game after a horrible performance. Your effort should have been better. Effort. Don't take talent, don't take skills to show effort, to give effort. You didn't do that. You didn't do it.
I also want to point out, I said this earlier, they really didn't play that bad last night, Adelaide. There's a 4-minute stretch to start the fourth quarter where they went nuts. Golding came in here 3 in a row, Casper, and the game was blown in 4 minutes. And that can happen because the league is that tight and you're playing a talented team. You're right, you've got to play 40 minutes.
And the problem was in Perth because they had control of that game.
The vision you just showed there when they were selfish, they led.
Yeah, in the second quarter.
Yeah.
And Wiley was smoking hot. And they should have been able to go on with it.
They're in games. Now, they did bring a little bit of intensity at a certain point last night. Unfortunately, it was after the siren and they were shaking hands and it was a weird situation. Now, I was in Melbourne calling the game on radio. You were there courtside. So just break down as we play the vision here. The game's getting close to the end, but we've got a young player off the bench who brings a bit of spark in Bajan Johnson. What do you make of this, Corey?
If everybody else came and played like that, they would have stood a better chance. Fouling right there, that wasn't necessary. Yes. Now let the vision continue to go.
So here's Mole.
Just play aggressive on the ball.
So that's a foul. That's
fine. Okay, cool. He tried to slap the ball out of his hands. Okay.
I think it started the possession before that, though, when he talked trash to McCarron. He checked into the game, drew a foul on McCarron, immediately started talking trash. Is that okay? Coming off the bench, you're 20 points down. You're the 12th guy on the team.
And then they're shaking hands. No, they're not.
Let me tell you what happened there.
Tell us.
Rewind and show the full clip. You'll see he went to shake DJ Kennedy's hand. DJ Kennedy didn't take his hand and said something to him. He felt offended by that and then pushed DJ Kennedy. That's what happened.
I know you missed a production meeting. I don't think we have the full clip. So
I saw the full clip because funny enough, he DM'd me because I said what I said after the game. I said, that's unprofessional. Right. There's no way you should do that. I woke up this morning, BJ Thompson. BJ Thompson.
He DM'd you?
He DM'd me this morning.
Okay.
And said, this is why it happened, because I'm sure he heard what I... There you go. Rewind that clip.
That did show it.
Okay.
Yeah. And my understanding is the same thing happened with McCarron moments earlier when McCarron didn't offer his hand. Now, you say you felt disrespected. Do you think Melbourne and McCarron should have a right to feel disrespected with the way he came into the game? Talking trash to McCarron straight away?
I mean, he's a kid. You ignore that. You up 20. Just get the W and go ahead. He's a young fella. Just trying to come in and just show that he wants to play. Look, that's just his way of showing. I'm not saying it was right, because at the end of the day, I told him, regardless of what, be professional. At the end of the day, Joey Wright may leave. You're showing every other team, you know what it looks like? You're a troublemaker. That's what it looks like. So now you could easily be labeled that and never get another opportunity again.
I actually think that, I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I also think that's probably harsh on him. Now, he comes in, tries to bring intensity. He doesn't play a great deal of minutes. He comes in, he gets in someone's face. I'm not suggesting it's the right 100% to go about it when you're 20 points down, but he obviously, without seeing him play a great deal lower level, he brings intensity. He's up in someone's face. He was in McCarron's face. He was in Molar's face. And then, at the end of the game, he didn't start anything. He just went to shake a couple of players' hands.
Yeah, they just didn't like the way he was defending them. I mean, I agree. I love the way how he played. I mean, imagine if Adelaide played like that the last 2 games. The results could have been different.
And after the game wasn't his fault, was it?
It wasn't.
It was the other player. So I think in that situation...
I don't know. I think there's a part of it is Adelaide's, the culture that exists within that team. Guys behave in Joey Wright's team, especially towards the end of the roster, differently to how you would behave on other teams. Right? So he wants guys that play, have that streak. That's why he finds Froling, McVeigh, these guys that have that in them, and he wants them to play on an edge. I remember Kyle Adnam telling the story about when he was a development player with Adelaide, and he was going up against your man Gary Irvin at practice. And Joey Wright put him aside and said, you're showing him too much respect. You can't battle him like that. You have to take it to him. Talk, but do what you need to do to battle him and contest. And I remember Nathan Sobey, when his first season at Adelaide, he was hardly playing behind Adam Gibson and Jerome Randall. And you'd see him on the bench barking at his teammates. They come into the huddle and he'd tell them, this is what you're not doing right. And I asked Joey, is that cool? Can the veterans get a little upset about that? And he said, well, they shouldn't. We want to keep each other accountable. Yeah. Now, on other teams, that kind of stuff doesn't fly.
Yeah.
I respect that, though. You know what? I'm not laying down because you're a veteran with a name. What I'm supposed to do? Oh, you're Liam. You played 10 years or 8 years. I'm just going to lay down. No, I'm coming to take minutes. You going to give me your minutes?
No way.
Shit, no. Oh, sorry. No way you're going to give me a minute, so I got to go take it. That's exactly the approach he's putting in these young players. Okay, now think about this, right? How many young players came up under Joey Wright, left that team, and became successful?
A bunch.
A bunch. So it works. It works. Chris Golden, face of the NBL. What happened? MVP of the finals, championship. Grew up under who? Joey Wright. We could have countless names. And, Adam Gibson. You know what I mean? Like, all of them have it in them.
Mitch Creek.
Mitch Creek, where is he? Shout out to Mitch.
He's scoring on your Celtics today.
That's what's up.
Is it your Celtics or Knicks? I don't know. I'm confused. But that's my point.
No, it's a good point. It is a good point. But it does exist.
I have no drama with the way he played his basketball, and I have no drama with the players feeling they were disrespected, because that's their own opinion, not shaking hands. I don't think he's a troublemaker, because I don't think it was his issue after the siren. If he wants to play that way, that's the way that he might end up being successful in this league. Let's go to Perth.
Yeah. But I could just say, I'm just saying, public opinion is what matters when you play sport a lot. And it can come, he could be the nicest guy in the world. Every time I see him, he's a very nice young man. However, it can come across like he's a troublemaker based off of what his performance was at the end and what happened and how it just stemmed out and broke out.
And let me just add on to that. Kevin Braswell spoke to his team during the week about their body language that we showed here on Overtime, and he said that the team said, no, there's no issue. We don't dislike each other. We don't dislike you. There's no issue. And he said, that's not what it looks like to everybody else.
Exactly.
And then you want to go and get jobs elsewhere.
Perception.
Now you look like a guy who's not a team guy because you're throwing your water bottle.
Yep.
Hey, the perception a week ago was that Perth might have been in a little bit of trouble of not making the playoffs yet. They go 2-0 on the weekend, and Friday night they were outstanding. They were equally as good on Sunday. Are they right? Were they going to make the playoffs?
Yes, they are.
They're in.
I was thoroughly impressed because all I said was the whole month of January.
I'm not sure if that's a wasp or what.
Wow, that's big. My whole point was they need players to step up. It can't just be the Bryce Cotton show, and they need a third import because of the fact those players were not stepping up and being consistent. Coming to the party. The last game, everybody showed up. And when you see that Perth Wildcats team, they're a threat.
Can we start with, and talking about the depth and everyone standing up, let's start with the Mitch Norton injury, because it was announced 4 to 6 weeks, serious calf injury. Look, as always, they keep it open that he might be able to play in the final series, but it's unlikely.
Yeah.
Who is the player that has to stand up, Liam, and say, hey, I'm going to be here to add to the depth and to contribute to back up Damien Martin and do a little bit of what Mitch Norton's been doing?
Sunday Deck. It's Sunday Deck. And we saw him in the pre-season play a fair bit for Perth at the Blitz when Damien Martin wasn't on the floor. And this is a kid who actually just missed out on the final roster spot this season with Cairns. And speaking with members of the Perth Wildcats coaching staff earlier in the year, they said, keep an eye on him this year. He's an NBL player next year, 100%. Been training with the team. We're seeing this over and over.
Yeah.
I'm happy it's not an Achilles. The way he looked back
for a split second.
I've done my Achilles, and that when they look back and they try to find who kicked him.
He was like,
but he's ready. I think he's ready to go. He's ready to play 5 or 10 minutes for him. Damien Martin's going to have to play a whole bunch more minutes. This was the moment.
It was. It was. Now
we're going to make playoffs.
Hey, look, it said social media a lot. It was outstanding. The City jersey looked amazing too. We haven't spoken about it.
Talk about the City jersey. Cotton is pointing at
Bryce. Hang on.
We're going to make
I just want to give a shout out to the City jerseys because they look great.
Oh, boy.
I want to also give the second shout out to our man Corey Williams, because there's ways when this happens.
That was sick.
When this happens,
sick.
You're sitting
Good
there.
move.
The laugh is great. You're like, you know what? You just cop it. But you know what you did next? You flipped a switch and you took credit for inspiring people on social media. Because the big thing was for me, when this went viral Friday night, how is Corey going to take this? And I knew you wouldn't hide away from it, but to take credit for it was a little bit of a surprise.
Well, he might have had 45 points in a grand final game when Corey wasn't here, but what he's doing now is clearly because the man's called him out.
Can I say something?
Please.
Okay. Bryce Cotton's been in this league how many years?
3.
2.5, right?
Yeah.
Has anyone ever called him out? No. Everyone always compliments him and his team, right? This was the first time this man had come out and done something like that publicly. Has he ever done anything like that before? Never.
Well, a little bit last season, post-game interview.
To who?
He asked you how many championships.
There you go. To me again. To me again. He's listening. And everything I'm saying is right. What happened at the end of last season? They got swept. I was right.
He was asked post-game the other day about the motivation and that
he said he don't need any motivation.
Do you believe
that?
Do you believe him?
Why would he come to the bench? Why would he come and point to me then? Explain that. Out of anybody in that building, why did he come and point to me if he don't listen to nothing like that?
Maybe he was pointing to the 5 security guards behind you. We're all wrong.
Shout out to the security guards. Shout out to the security guards in Perth. You know, I mean, that was great for the game.
It was.
That was great for the game in itself. You know what I mean? I mean, rightfully so. Point at me. I've been the one calling you guys out all month, all year, but definitely all month with that streak that you guys where you couldn't get a W. Rightfully so.
Do you think they can win it?
With them playing like that, it's hard. I'm not going to say they can win it, but if they finish in first or second place, you do not want to see Perth with home court advantage. Not playing like that. The only team that would want to see that team is Melbourne United. And what I saw yesterday,
I'll tell you this.
Woo!
A week's a long time in basketball.
A week?
Hey, in this league.
It most certainly is. Let's talk about the Sydney Kings, though, because they
my goodness.
led the league for majority of it. I know Liam's got some vision he wants to look at, but we'll start with you because they were great on Friday night, but the more worrying issue and the reason they're now third on the ladder is what happened on Sunday. What do you make of this Kings outfit?
Look, again, I always say this when we talk about the Kings. Before the season started, I said give the Kings to the ring. Mm-hmm. Give the rings to the King. I keep always messing that up.
Yeah, that's all right.
What's concerning to me is that they can't beat Melbourne United. They cannot beat Melbourne United. They cannot beat the Perth Wildcats. Not in form like this. No way. Think about this. When they beat Perth in Sydney, who didn't play?
Your man.
Bryce Cotton. When they beat Perth by luck, what happened?
David Ware hit some big shots.
We ain't seen David Ware pretty much since. It with an impact like that. And Bryce Cotton's back. And that team is in serious form. I don't believe they can beat. They might not be 20 points better than Sydney Kings, but Sydney's in some trouble.
Where's Jerome Randall?
Jerome Randall, I believe, is frustrated. We have not seen Jerome Randall of the past. Since Jerome Randall touched this league, he's lit the league up. Give him the ball, let him rock and roll. Every team he's been on goes as he goes. I personally think they're not letting him go up there. They need to get the handcuffs and the restraints off that man. He's superhuman.
But that's happened in the second half of the year because he did have a really good start to the season.
That man is superhuman. You're making him human.
So have they changed their structure?
They must have changed the structure 100%. He doesn't get any easy buckets. There's no offense called for him. He got every basket he gets is tough. Let that man go. The better he plays, the better they play.
Yeah, we saw something from him in that game against Perth that we've never seen from him his entire time here in Australia, where he hesitated on a pull-up mid-range jumper.
Since when? Jerome Randall last year. What did he do last year at the end of the season?
No, you know what? I'll say it again. Not even last year.
No,
the first half of this year.
We've never seen that before from him. And whether there's conversations going on about their offense and what shots to take, it'll be interesting to know. But, yeah, we haven't seen that. One thing I will say, you talk about they can't beat Perth. And it's a huge what if. But I think...
What if Sean Long stays out of foul trouble? What if?
No.
Oh, okay.
Well, what if... Because I think fatigue and tiredness with that Sydney team is a legit problem.
I agree.
We spoke about it coming into the year with their age profile and their schedule over recent times. What if they played Perth in the first game of this past weekend doubleheader, where they played Brisbane and they got the job done in Brisbane? What if they played Perth first and Brisbane second? Do we see them beat the Wildcats?
You know, that's all well and good, and I agree. And it could have been a different result. But, and I haven't seen the NBL playoff schedule yet. I'm not sure if it's been released. But I'm assuming it's going to be a bit more compacted or compressed because last year it ran and it ran and it ran and it got into AFL and NRL season and probably took a little bit away from it. So I'd say it'd be compressed to fit in before the major football codes start. We're going to have two-day break. So you're right. They might be better on the first night, but that second game,
which is why they need home court advantage, because more often than not in those schedules, that first game, the backup game is when you go on the road to the team that doesn't have advantage.
About 3 weeks ago on NBL Overtime, Liam Santa Maria, you showed vision of how great they were defensively, and so much of it was said by Andrew Bogut.
Yes.
Well, rebounding has become a bit of an issue for the Kings, so...
Yes. Well, I'd prefer not to go to the board today.
What do you mean?
I'm wearing the shorts.
Hey, you want to wear shorts and thongs to work, mate? This is Australia. You're going to get out there in front of the vision.
I'm dressed
Out
for the
you go.
desk.
Out you go.
And this doesn't really need...
Mate, you're the man by the plasma. You got to be ready for this.
This doesn't really... Thank you.
Traditional Aussie
It
football.
is.
Bring it up.
Come on, it is. In
No, look.
fairness, for people not in Melbourne, it's been 35
very
degrees
hot.
today. It is the middle of summer.
It's
but
very hot. Defensive rebounding hasn't just become a problem recently. It's been
Okay.
an issue for them all year. And it's weird that they've got a huge issue there when they've got the best rebounder in the league. But it's been a massive problem. They are last in the league in defensive rebounding percentage. No, you don't see in the NBL, certainly like the last 10 years or so, every team that's won the title has been in the sort of top 1, 2, 3, maybe 4 in defensive rebounding percentage. And you think about Perth, New Zealand, Melbourne last year, the teams that win the title in the NBL in recent times are one of the best defensive teams, if not the best, and they finish possessions with defensive boards. And the Sydney Kings are having a huge issue. Watch David Ware. These are 3 guys. Look, David Ware's guarding Nick Kay. He's a priority block out. You don't need to go and switch over there on Angus Brown. Brad Newell, he's got it. Watch David Ware again. Nick Kay killed them on the offensive glass. He's a priority block out. When the shot goes up, don't ball watch. Go and block out Nick Kay. And David Ware's been an issue for him all year. They need some rebounding for him. This is what we talk about with physicality. It's something that happens with Brian Bowen. Watch the ball watching. Greg Heyer. What's he on the floor to do?
Rebound.
Chuck it up.
Get offensive rebounds. And then Jerome Randall. Watch Jerome Randall here. They need everybody blocking out. Damian Martin, one of the best rebounding guards we've ever seen in this competition. The last one, watch Jerome Randall again on this next clip with Tariko White. Be physical. Get a block out. Keep him off the glass, because those kind of plays are killing the Kings.
And offensive rebounds. And we watched the last night's game. Offensive rebounding in the first half in particular and early into the third quarter kept the Adelaide 36ers in it, kept their confidence, momentum, and that's when the crowd got back into it, because offensive and in any level, right across the world, offensive rebound kills the opposition team because it breaks your defensive spirit.
And the Kings talked about sacrifice coming into this season, right? Guys that have maybe used to certain things, sacrificing to be a part of a championship team. That doesn't always mean less shots. It doesn't always mean less minutes. It means doing things that you're not used to doing, taking your game to a championship level, and they need to be much more physical on the glass if they're going to win it.
New Zealand. We haven't spoken a great deal about them. We've spoken over the course of the year about the fact they've been probably a little bit disappointing with the team they had on paper. And a week ago, we spoke about their body language. Well, they bounced back in 2 great ways this weekend. A win over Cairns and a win over Brisbane. Can they actually still, I know mathematically they can make the playoffs. Do either of you gentlemen think they can make the 4?
You know, what's interesting to me is they have a tough schedule. They have Melbourne twice.
This week.
I mean, it's really up to that man, to be honest with you. If he's able to stay on the court, and that's the matchup I'm really interested in seeing. Josh Boone against Sean Long. That's going to say a whole lot to me.
He's playing at an incredible level.
Who's the best big man in the league, bro?
Bogut.
Well, everything comes into play.
It does.
Everything comes, but do you know what? Sean Long is NBA ready. Bogut is the best big man in the league. If you want to win the title, I think you want Bogut on your team.
Yeah.
But Sean Long is NBA ready.
Yeah, I'm not sold on that.
One-on-one, who can guard that man?
Well,
in the
nobody.
NBA.
Double gotta come.
Well, hang on.
It has to come.
Yeah, it does. Hang on.
But there's other guys where the double has to come.
Yeah, exactly.
Double has to come to Ty Wesley.
Hey,
Double
Sean-
has to come to Nate Jowett.
Sean Long is in outstanding form. Don't get me wrong.
No.
He's in the conversation as all NBL. What position does he play in the NBA?
4.
Is he big enough?
Yep.
Is he big enough to play
You tell
legitimate
me he could
form
play
in
with
the NBA?
Cleveland right now. He could play with Chicago. He could play with my Knicks.
See how he shoots the ball.
He has shot it
Right.
better as the season's gone.
Let's
He
go.
played well for
Let's
Philadelphia.
go. You see the passion? Passion always wins. His passion alone to get him a look. He's killing this league.
Oh,
This is one of the
an
best
incredible
leagues in
talent.
the world. Look what he's doing.
Yes.
And between me and you know what he has? He has a list with names on it. And Josh Boone is up next. And he's crossed everybody's name off that list.
Is he?
Josh Boone, listen to me. That man is coming for you, fam.
Hey.
You've been showing up. I ain't going to front on you. Last 4 games, you've had double-doubles. Like yesterday was impressive. I think you had 17 and 11. Y'all played DJ. And, you know, you looked at me, too. You came to the sideline and looked at John Casey, gave him a handshake, and looked at me. You gave me a look. These players coming at me on the sideline, giving me looks. But I'm telling you right now, you better look ahead to this weekend, because Sean Long coming for you. Your name is on that list.
Josh Boone's 2019 has been really, really good. Probably kick-started by how well he played in that overtime win. They come back against Cairns. It is.
It's the schedule.
It is. And
it's been a lighter schedule. He's feeling better. I spoke to Dean Vickerman. He said we assessed his load compared to the previous year, and he was 30% up. And we're like, oh, geez. So they've backed it right off at practice. They've been playing less games. 4 double-doubles.
Are you sure it is the schedule and the backing of the loading, or the fact that he's wearing the Karate Kid head?
Nah, that's that DC. That's what they do in DMV. Shout out to DC, Maryland, Virginia. That's what they do. They all got the headbands and stuff. They've been doing that forever. That's part of their culture out there.
New Zealand, can they make the playoffs?
Nah, I don't know.
No, they can't.
Anything's possible.
There you go. All right. Hey, Liam Santamaria doesn't miss a beat. What did we miss this weekend over the course of the weekend?
Let's start in Adelaide with Jacob Wiley. He is amped for this segment. Are the boys ready? Look at him.
Yeah, there we go.
Let's go! It's possible. Rolling his butt meets cameraman, but he's okay. He's good.
There he is.
Jason Kadee had took a seat on the sidelines, and this poor little kid got his drink knocked. He's so angry. Look, he said that man knocked over my drink. But then watch the replay. He knocked over his own drink. Whack!
Oh. Jason Kadee, wrongly accused.
But he got. You got looked after. What do you want?
Okay,
we'll get you whatever you want. He's like, no, I want my old drink back.
Oh, my goodness.
These guys, look, they look like they need a few more.
Man.
Or they've been on too many. Mika Vakona caught sight of those boys. Look. What are those fellas wearing? Who invited them in here? And then Corey, I know you love this.
Get in the weight room.
And in an arena where we've seen a lot of flexing. A little cheeky one. A little quiet one.
That's brilliant.
Mitch McCarron.
Get in the weight room, Majuk. Oh, my goodness.
I do like that he stood up, though. We've seen some guys go onto the floor on those but he stood there.
I mean, it would have been worse if he fell.
He took a beating.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
Hey, we mentioned Mitch Creek earlier, and of course a 10-day contract that he signed on Friday, and outstanding. If you haven't seen the vision of him getting the call up, it's outstanding. At NBL, check it out on Twitter. It was emotional. He couldn't even talk. He was in tears, and fair enough too, after realising his dream. And he got, in the most remarkable circumstances, his first point in the NBA, where the rule is that if a player gets injured, the opposition coach can select a player, and selected Mitch Creek. But today he was outstanding. They played the Celtics, and Brooklyn Nets have been outstanding. I think they're 21-5 their last 26 games. So he's going to a team that is, why not be a contender for the Eastern Conference Championship? They're definitely a playoff team, and today he was really, really good. Got some minutes. There's his mum, his sister, I think, and a few other people from family and friends in the crowd, and he was good, boys. It was great to see him out there and actually be able to show the NBA what he can do and what we've known for a little while.
It's the best. And obviously this is from today. He was fantastic. I like that his first NBA point was from a Billy Hoyle moment.
And over in Australia.
Over Bain.
No, when he got... They looked down the bench and they said, we want that guy, the white guy down the bench. Yeah. Get him out here to shoot the free throw. He overcame the odds, Mitch Creek. No, but people... I remember we ran stories about him. Oh, he's invited to a mini camp. He's got a workout. He's going to summer league. And the comments, he'll never make it. He can't shoot. He's not an NBA athlete. He just wanted it so bad.
The documentary that was on all the NBL social media and the NBL website when he was at summer camp, and he allowed the cameras, and you would have been a part of that, to follow him around, and he spoke about pre and post games, about what it was like, and it was an outstanding access. If you haven't seen it, go back and find it, because it is really good, an indication of how hard it is in that situation where you're trying to prove your wares but also fit in some type of team game. But to go from there to where he is today, and you would think that with some of the injuries they've got, he'll play some more minutes, and hopefully that second 10-dayer. And really, outside of Thomas Greer and Rowan Short and Simon Mitchell, we're all stoked for you, Mitch. Good work, buddy.
Yeah, I'm really happy for him. You know, this guy, we all know him in the basketball world, in the basketball community here in Australia. He works extremely hard. He's a good person. He's a humble individual, and he gives his all. I remember when he was playing for Adelaide, like, he was the backbone of that team. You know what I mean? He's a great community advocate, a community leader, and everywhere he played last year, he did well. he killed the NBL. He was the best Aussie in the NBL last year. They lose in the grand finals, but it was still a plus for him because of where he started from and where he was then. Then after that, he goes overseas. He goes to Germany, kills that league. Boom, his last year he was leading and scoring.
Yep.
So it was only right for him to go to Summer League, show what he can do, get on now. Went to the G League and killed.
Yeah.
He didn't just sit on the bench. He put in some serious work. So that call-up was worthy.
Yeah. And make no mistake, he didn't make the NBA because he played in the G League.
No.
He was well and truly on the radar from his play in the NBL
100%.
and for the Boomers. What he did at the Albert Schweitzer tournament when he was really young and was MVP of that tournament, and for Adelaide for all that time. And then he went and took the leap to Summer League. And that first year for Utah, it was a bit of a shock, but he brought the energy, created a great reputation, went back, impressed Brooklyn with his workout. That was where it first started. He one of those workout free agent mini camps. People scoff at the free agent mini camp and they say, nothing will come. That's where he first impressed Brooklyn, played for Dallas at the Summer League. I remember at Summer League, his second last game there, we got the word that if he got 20, I think I got a fly.
Yeah. The size of that thing.
We got the word. If he had 20 and 10 in that game, he was getting a two-way contract.
Yeah. Yep.
It was the last game Rick Carlisle and Donnie Nelson were going to sit there and watch, and if he bowled out, he was going to get it. It didn't quite work out, but he was like, oh my God, I'm that close? There's another team interested, Brooklyn, the Exhibit 10. He's just stuck with it, kept working, and he's an NBA player, and he's got potentially an opportunity to carve something out.
At the moment, there's two teams interested. Your whole world really changes. Hey, summer camp, summer league, mini draft, as you spoke about, free agent, mini draft and all the rest of it. Now the continual chat is with the NBA, I think we've got 12 players in the NBA, but Kyrie Irving's a bit of an iffy one because some count him and some don't.
Come on, man.
We count him.
Come on, Cam.
goodness.
We don't count him.
You don't count him?
Who counts him?
No one should count him.
No one should count him.
He counted himself.
No, he didn't.
He did. He is on the record of saying how much he loves Australia. Now, I'm not saying he would play for the Boomers.
Who's this guy right now?
People buy jerseys and shoes and all kinds of things down here.
Basketball jersey world.
Basketball jersey world, shout it out. Anything is possible.
There's 11.
Don't claim him.
Okay, there's 11 Aussies then. 11 Aussies.
It's not right. It doesn't look. It's not a good look.
11 Aussies in the league.
Yep.
Now, of course, Summer League, not far away. At NBL, we would like to know who do you think the next Australian or NBL-based player to be in the Summer League will be? If we just throw up the poll there, who do you think it might be?
I believe it's Nathan Sobey. Maybe Harry Frawling, too.
Well, Sobey's been there before, so he's been on the radar a little bit with the Summer League.
And that's the thing. When you've been there before, it's highly likely that you'll get a chance to go again. Mitch McCarron, I mean, he's had a really good season. But I think Harry Frawling, to be honest with you.
I think there's a good chance. You know that Dallas mini camp, free agent mini camp that Tony Ronzoni always invites a bunch of Australians. I think we'll see Mitch McCarron there this year because there's always someone from Melbourne United.
Well, Kyle Adnam went last year,
He's got a good relationship with Melbourne United. I would love to see Nathan Sobey back there because when he was there 2 years ago, he had a groin strain that he picked up at the training camp in Utah. And he's an athlete.
Yeah.
He's an energy guy. He's explosive.
Yep.
And he wasn't able to show his true self. I'd love to see him back there, yeah. And
like
Finn Delaney, while we're at it, people think that's a little out of left field, but with his athleticism and strength, if he can shoot a bit better, but he's like a mini Mitch Creek.
Doesn't bring it every game.
No, he doesn't.
That's the consistency is the next step for Finn Delaney, who was outstanding on Sunday.
But this is the other thing, he didn't go to college. He would still be in college in terms of his age. He is like Mitch Creek when Mitch Creek was his age.
It's in my ear. Since Kyrie Irving is dual citizen,
goodness.
I'm all right, yes or no? Is Melbourne better with Chris Golding off the bench?
Yes, he is. Yes, they are.
That wasn't to you, but
my bad.
thank you for answering, Liam. Do you agree?
Yes, he is. Yes, they are.
Should Adelaide sign Demetrius Conger for next season?
No.
At all?
No.
That's your boy.
Listen, I'm glad you just said that's my boy because, he is. But at the end of the day, I'm not biased. I keep it real. If you bringing it, I'm going to commend you. If you stinking it up, I'm going to let you know.
Will Sean Bruce be on an NBL roster next year?
I hope so. We'll see.
Is Jared Weeks favourite for most improved player?
I'm not sure.
What do you think?
He's in the conversation. I think Ruben Tarangi probably.
Mid-90s when we were growing up, remember the NBL had a 3-on-3 pre-season tournament?
No.
Okay.
Do you remember that?
No.
You don't remember it?
No.
You will. We were in Australia
don't.
at the time. Jim Harvilla, remember the Jim?
Yes,
Yeah,
the
he
gorilla.
broke the backboard.
The gorilla.
At the tournament, 3-on-3 tournament.
Okay.
And obviously, we've got the 3-on-3 hustle
Wow.
now. It's huge. It's going to go to the
Long
Olympics.
might break a backboard.
Should
just
we
quietly.
bring back the 3-on-3 preseason tournament in the NBL?
Sure.
Yeah, excellent. Is Casper having a better season than Bryce Cotton?
That's tough.
That is tough. He asked you.
Yeah, I did.
I don't know.
We ain't got it right.
I don't know.
That's not good TV.
I don't know.
Give me something.
That is harsh. That
It
is.
is. It's a hard one.
Casper's
But
a
you know
gun.
what? The coaches and captains are going to have to
to
sit
answer the
there
exact same question?
and go Bogut, Cotton,
Yeah.
Ware, Patterson,
Yeah.
and they're going to have to write down a name.
Wow.
Come on. Yes or no?
I'm going to say yes.
Would Jesse Wagstaff be a good target for South East Melbourne Phoenix?
Yeah.
Can Adelaide win the title?
Come on, man. No.
Does Emmett Nah need a jump shot to be a legit starter in the league?
Yes.
I know you weren't there, but was Nick Kay robbed by Fox Sports on Sunday when Bryce Cotton was given player of the game? Now, they both had 16 points and Bryce Cotton was good and played well at different times. Nick Kay nearly got a triple-double. And then he's got to pay for his own Bunnings while Bryce Cotton's going down getting hammer and nails for free.
You know, once
Was he robbed?
once Bryce came and pointed, game over.
No, but that was on Friday. How about
in
on
Sydney.
Sunday?
Oh, I didn't watch that game.
See, because
I didn't
Kay was
watch
on triple-double watching both games.
We're sitting there going, this is amazing. We're going to see another triple-double.
Steindl could have been.
Player of the match, Bryce Cotton. He was robbed, I'm going to say it.
Okay.
Now, are you a Kevin Garnett fan? Last week we saw you in the jersey.
I
of
was
the
with a Knicks fan. You know, I'm a Knicks fan, but I love Kevin Garnett
Mm-hmm.
because of the fact that he was passionate and the way he played the game and approached the game. I kind of approached the game the same
Mm-hmm.
way, and I just wanted to get some love. Like I told you, I got heat. I got heat from basketball jersey world. So I got some more heat to come, and I got a story for the next jersey.
Just so we're aware, by heat, do you mean free jerseys?
No.
No? Okay, cool.
I'm paying for these jerseys. I just get a discount. Shout out to basketball jersey. I'm telling you. Tell him I sent you. He's going to plug me. I'm telling you.
Okay.
Hashtag,
In the mall in Melbourne. Just go see and say Homicide sent me.
hashtag
Straight up.
NBL 19. Hashtag NBL Overtime. At NBL to vote on who the next Australian, or maybe even Finn Delaney, if you want to throw his name in the comments, he'll be in next Summer League. Until next, who will be on top of the ladder this time next week?
Oh, boy.
Now you know what I'm going to say?
Melbourne.
I'm going to say Melbourne.
Basketball Jersey World, go say, and obviously Homicide will send you. That's which one we're looking at, Liam? Here we go. There's a fly on the lens. We're out
tell
of
him
here.
Homicide
See you
sent you.
next week.